All right. So today we are going to go into a deep level of a class. Um, since that you guys have worked through certain things, this is about when we are going to take a different path to our lives. Suddenly, our egos constantly get totally panicked. Now, where is this coming from? Now, if your ego is panicked and you're going back to the fear and you're starting creating the same things in your life, out of fear, you're running away, you're shying away, you are very much in the place of not confronting things, or you confronting so much out of a reaction. Where are these things are stemming from? And that very moment that happens, we are recognizing, hi Liz, we are recognizing that we are gently coming into a place of elevation. That's why it is family, because mind is very changeable, especially the lower part of the mind and the middle part of the upper part. And constantly we have problems on the deeper part of the mind, or the mind react to constantly from the surface part. And most of us live on the surface part, but our traumas are in the deeper level, but we understand the cognitive value, but we can't change unless we have a psychosomatic practice. And mental health is a huge part of the communities, not only the communities in the countries, but what's happening with these parts is they are giving everyone the same treatment, but it's not. Now, you understand, a child does not have to be born to understand trauma. Child in the belly itself, if their mothers are going through fears, um, sadness, um, whatever it is, child can feel it. And on the deeper levels of the child brain develops from this part when they are actually in infant state. And suddenly you're growing up to become, this is also a good part. Uh, if you're a nurturer, if you love everyone to be looked after, and because this is a confrontational issue that you want everything to be harmony, because you are so scared of disharmony, because either your mother or the grandmother or grandparents gone through those things, and you're trying to be overly nice, but you don't give enough space for yourself to develop that strength in you. This happens to a lot of caregivers, especially the one who wants the family to be safe, wants family to do correct, wants family to come into these places of events and all that. You have to ask the question, where is that your deep healing is not happening? And you're avoiding to look at it, because in silence, if you don't have a practice, it's unbearable to look at it. And this is why all the yoga teachers have both this practice in a mindful level. Things have to be psychosomatic. We have to find a way to repetitively work through these things in harmony, because these are patterns that they don't necessarily have an event there, they have patterns. So when you are developing your brain and you're working with art and music and all those things, we found the healing is much more working in favor of you, whether it's gardening, whether it's cooking, whether it's the nature. What is the nature? Nature is also a frequency. And what we are doing is we are not feeding and we are not living totally, constantly protecting ourselves, but we are embracing the space of the unknown, so that this depth that we have been pushed into as inner child start coming out to play. This happens to any child if the mother has not gone through a greater relationship or a greater environment, or even a sickness, even battling with certain things, even finance. Just ask yourself today, and I'm going to pinpoint you into these areas. And when you come into these areas, don't go back to your old patterns, whether you're finding a psychological reason or a surface reason to say that that's what you're not. That's why you are not growing into it. You're not safe to grow into it. Mind loves patterns, and it will keep you in there out of safety. And ego get threatened when you have a new project, a new lover, a new thing to do. But in that place, you're going back to your old state and reacting to it. Then you know that there is nothing to take personal. There's a depth on those frequencies are not finding its harmony. This goes to everybody because being having chats and being seeing people and also working with these HK and all these things, we see these patterns of trauma and how these patterns of the trauma from a matriarch level or a patriarch level can be passed on to the other generations, and they suffer. Sometimes you suddenly find that if your mother, uh, as a person, was not sure to have the kid, baby will feel it. Baby will constantly feel it that um, they're being abandoned or they're not being loved. So take these things into consideration. I'm not saying this is your story. I'm just generally explaining you a space for you to enter into this realization. But it is a realization, so please don't take the logic value of it and write emails and messages for me about it. But um, in a reactive state, but we want to heal as a community. We want to heal as friends, as people. So it is very important that you have that part of the the community in that level. A lot of people who have grandparents, parents, or teachers actually heal very quickly because it's not about just a story. It's about practically you're engaging in communities and families, a more larger in a loving space than in a reactive phase. Children start healing; they're coming out of their shells. Uh, and treat yourself as a child for this class. I'm not saying to you you're a child, just to the innocence of that space. So take a deep breath in and elongate your spine very gently. Take that space of, I know, but I am going to now enter into that depth. And very gently take a deep breath out and very gently see whether your tension in the body. So just see the space. By seeing the space you're releasing, now I will move the camera towards Darren. Now, very gently take a deep breath in, arms raised onto the crown, interlacing the fingers. And allow those palms to face up and very gently get those armpits a little bit exposed. Gentle stretch into the back and come back into the center. Palms onto the namaskar position. And take a deep breath in and breath out with a gentle om. Create this space in your life right now to have that trusting relationship and interaction with this moment. I'll take a deep breath in and breath out, twisting the spine to the right side. Breathing in back into the center, change the formation of the legs. Twisting the spine to the opposite direction. Now, very gently, I understand all of you writing me things from the past, but come back into the center now. Don't think about the past could have been any different. The decisions you have to make and decided that I know, accept that what happened, happened. I'm going to give up that hoping that my parents would have been this, my finances should have been this, that. This is a great space to let go. Because most of the time when you talk about your past, well, the positive change is not happening. It's not about going back and undoing, it's about building new things. And so you have the opportunity in your life at this very moment. Now take a deep breath in, stretch your neck to the right side, release that resilient. Back into the center. So the scarcity that you're having for everyone, but you didn't have it, bring that compassion to yourself. So give up the hope of not just everyone being correct, but you being in this space. Back into the center. Now energetically, I want you to feel that the past could have been any different. So because all of you hold that space. That's where our deeper level of the psychology begins. So accept that what happened, happened. And as it happened, you're giving up the hoping that something would have changed. You're moving into the present moment. Now take a deep breath and just on the breath out, allow the spine to collapse into the space of the cat very gently. Remember, your memory of that mind can be changed, but the ego will always try to keep you small in these deeper parts of you. Back into the center, tongue roll up onto the upper palate, energy gaze onto the third eye. Back into the center. Now take a deep breath for a couple of moments, thinking that you're coming into the presence of a progress. You're breaking free old pattern. So today this class might be embracing the discomfort of it, because fear does not allow you to break these patterns. So if the panic is happening for you, have I done the right thing? Have I moved on to the right thing? Just observe. Because your ego wants to keep you in that childhood trauma to hold you there out of safety. Just take it as a mechanism. Don't take it personally. Now take a deep breath in, tongue roll up onto the upper palate, energy gaze onto the third eye. Now you are more aware of recognizing what it is, a protective mechanism that no longer serves you. Breathe out. Anus lock, navel lock, throat lock. Now take a deep breath in and elongate the spine again. See anything in the body armor that you're finding, doubt, fear, on an energy level. What makes you into those places? And this is the common mistake, that the world should be a safe place. World will never be a safe place. Even it is a safe place if you have not worked on the panics and the doubts and the fears, you will create it in the world. That is the gospel truth about it. Now take a deep breath in, shrug the shoulders up, peel the head back, massage the back of the skull where the energy is stagnated. And of course, that's not an indication that something is wrong, but you're becoming more grounded. Open and close the mouth and release the tension on that jaw. And breathe out and put the tongue out totally. Let that space of the throat Breath in back into the center. Now take a deep breath in and stretch the left leg into the back. Keep that right hip on the space. Now observe the identity of yourself will try to pull you back from this because it's almost like for it, it's like a virus, so it will react when you're finding the truth about yourself. Take a deep breath, elevate the space of the heart, breath out, walk those palms into the front, elbows into the. Now remember the mind also lives in the body. The gross part of the mind is the body. Integral part of the body is the mind. Now observe and allow the breath to move through that discomfort. But that discomfort, you're moving into the deepest inspiration. And you're going to come into the confront of your identity, confront your ego, confront the space of the past, not as a worry or fighting or writing poetry about it. I want you to take a couple of more breaths until it begins to lose its power over you. And allow this discomfort of the growth to develop stronger sense of self. To start to understand this, panic and fear is a part of it. Without it, you could have not identified the location of it. I take a deep breath in and coming back. Come back to the unknown. Unknown. Now you can see the mind wants to go back to the known factor. I am this, I am that. True transformation happens in the space of the unknown. Now take a deep breath in into a plank. I would allow you to discover the new strength in this space of the plank. Whether you want a stronger plank or you want a comforting plank with dropping the knees and stretching the spine, I just want to discover a new strength to unlock the hidden part of it, because what is covering in that lock is the potential to experience the growth. Now, drop the knees and stretch the spine on the out breath. Staying within your comfort zone is not, the comfort zone is the ego. And it will try to convince you you are in a great place, so stay here. You're in a great location, don't move. You're in a great relationship, don't move. You're in this and that. And remember that discomfort of this practice is very temporary if you go through it. Palms facing down, crawling and bringing the chest into the front, elbows onto the floor, and soften the belly, soften the hips, and breathing in into a gentle cobra. Now, I want you to, if you're addressing this posture with pain, addressing this posture with panic, that is not to stop it. It is at a verge of your coming through the breakthrough of this whole path and coming into realizing a stage. But that stage can be some of you lost, uncertain, panic, because you're venturing into the unknown to heal. Because known was your prison. Unknown is liberation, but people don't know that. Or looking to the right side, back into the center, or looking onto the left side, back into the center. Take a moment. Your identity thrives in the realm of the known. And when uncomfort, unknown, it's not happy. Relax the third eye onto the floor. and relax it onto the floor or to the hand and roll the third eye very gently. Now, some of you might at this stage will find that you're still seeking validation because from the mother, from the father, from the community, from the colleagues, where you still fear of rejection in these aspects that are hidden. Now, rather than retreating from this uncomfortable place, how about dismantling that space that neuropaths have grown with a stronger ego? Each time when you face the panic, each time when you feel the uncomfort, fear, just if you are gentle with it, you're breaking the scaffolding of that ego. Now relax, bring the palms where the elbows are. I want you to gently resolve and you build up resilience and courage by taking a deep sense of trust into breathing into our face. Shoulders relax and allow the posture to gravitate. Start realizing that uncomfort is a signal to stop you so that you used to go back into your old self. Now, very gently breathe out to its down face. Now, bend the knees, lift up onto the toes, release any tension, and open up those boundaries. And you're in the right direction. Instead of seeing everything that has happened to you as an enemy, you can begin to see as a teacher, an advisor, elevator, a wound healer. So now I want you to bring the left foot into the pigeon pose on the out breath, opening up the other hip, shoulders roll back. I want you to look at this body where you are still attached to the old, where you're still seeking, still doesn't feel that you're enough. Just observe if that is in this posture, in this very moment, is the only way you can see. Shoulders roll back, elevate the space of the heart, and drop the elbows, walk those palms into. Now the whole world wants you to be in a safe option. Okay, so it gives you the map of how to work against the failure. A lot of people have taken this because we are seeing the end of that where people are still in discomfort, still in overwhelming, because these things that they have maintained hold when you are recognized with that ego, but they're still panicking. They're still in the old system. So there's no elevation, and they have never worked on their deeper level of the psychology. So take a moment, psychosomatically take this practice, clench and unclench and release the tension of those fingers, and maybe your palms can face up, face down. Now it's time to move forward when we are faced this. Many people misinterpret, let's go back to the old self, because they don't want the discomfort. Discomfort is not your enemy. Discomfort never was your enemy. It doesn't mean that you're on wrong. If you want a safe life, then sleep. And this discomfort is awakening. It's a necessary part of the growth to happen. And you have to gently bring that breath and observe that consciousness. You cannot evolve with the first challenge, the structure that have defined your ego will try to convince you, turn back. Find safety in things. Find safety in your ideas. Because when now take a deep breath in and walk those palms into the back. These are very gentle postures you're doing it. And let these old foundations to be shaken, threatened. Let the person that you're meant to be, not what you're told to be, what you thought to be, plan. Strong on the pelvic floor, drop the knees and stretch the spine. This time, knees wide apart, palms facing up, releasing that tension. Now, the nature of the events is it requires you to confront parts of yourself that you have kept you small, the child. And all these events are demanding that you challenge the story and you can rewrite the script. You don't have to hold the script of your past. That was a child. Now you're entering it as a person who is in the practice compassionately. You can let go of the belief that your mother is holding. That is no longer you. And it does not serve you. And it only out of fear have held you. Or father, or community, or maybe the education. I don't know, whatever it is for you. Arms facing down, crawling and bringing the chest into the front. Drop the belly and soften the hips, breathing into a gentle cobra. Or looking to the right side, overlooking to the center, overlooking to the left side, back into the center. Now, this is a great space if something is screaming in you and you are attacking it, thinking that is the old dangerous part is returning to you. No, this is a reaction as uncomfortable as it actually sign that you are brink of something meaningful and the process of the growth. It's not going to be linear. It's filled with moment of resistance and uncertainty. And if you are not good at it, please make peace with it. The whole life is resistance and uncertainty, and it will be filled of indications that your ego might think it's wrong, but it is surely you're moving beyond your previous limitations of the growth. If you can handle, relax back onto the flow. Let your third eye relax for a minute and let that surface to begin wonder if you are whatever the old story will come to you. Just observe it. Now you have the necessary skills to live without destined to fail. These doubts are the ego's way of pulling you back into the identification. But it will say it's perceived as safety. It will say it to you, whatever the situation in your life. Don't stop there. You have always come into this. The first threat you get, you behave like that child again. The more authentic version of yourself, ego finds unsettling, unfamiliar. So it's pursue a long held dream, maybe starting something different, moving, having a relationship, changing a career. First, you will feel the excitement and the sense of the purpose, but then it will go back to its own identity. Now, bring the elbows where your, the palms where your elbows are. Take a deep breath in and elevate up onto up face. Breathe out towards the down face. Very gently, very gently, very gently. Head and neck has to be relaxed on the down face. There's no tension in it. Lift up onto the toes and bend the knees and bring the lower ribs closer to the knees. Now very gently walk those arms towards the feet and hold on to the opposite elbows. This is very important. And move the head and neck very gently into the front and into the back and side to side. And very gently allow that space that you're holding things to release. And let the body get into the flow. The neural parts on the deeper level have to be shaken. It might be daunting thinking that my neck is kasami. Remember, ego loves a restricted body, protecting you from the potential harm by keeping things predictable. You will tell the story, I know this, I know that, but that's a predictability. It prevents the growth, keeping you stuck in the cycle of mediocrity. Now wake up the spine very gently, one vertebra at a time. Now take a moment, shake the body and release the body, jump up and out. You want to change the thread, it is thrive on the consistency, stability, illusion of control, illusion of clinging. So it looks simple, but this works actually. When you begin to push beyond the comfort zone, jump up and down a few times and release, release. Let this sense of perseverance, persistence to be in the space of the house, not just on the body where your creative space. Now take a deep breath in, arms raised onto the crown and lift up onto the toes. Strengthen, 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 strengthen. You might get that stability on the glutes. And relax. Now I want you to feel that space on the feet. The feet is beyond your comfort zone. Don't you worry your identity feel that I am lost now because that's what you write to me. I know that. After the healing, I am lost. After the chat, I am lost. You're meant to feel lost. You're meant to be in the unknown. Your mental barriers that can make even simplest step forward seem don't feet apart and sit deeper. Now this is very good. Your gut and the digestion all are connected to issues, especially with the childhood traumas. So sit deeper, and I want that space to be open, because this also prevents the growth, keeping you stuck in the cycle of that. Remember, everything in the body and the mind is in the cycles, including me. Comes under the namaskar position, sit deeper. Now, if your heels are not touching the floor, you can leave a blanket underneath and very gently coming into this space. Now take a deep breath in. And relax and get the bum onto the floor. So this is now you have come so far. This is not about going back and undoing. It's about creating new frequency into that space. So now this moment is you're having opportunity in your life right in this moment. Positively trust in the relational interaction with yourself, people just around you. And you build up that relationship very sacredly. And this will give the capacity. Nothing is against you to trust in that space. Now, very gently stretch the legs into the front. Pull out the buttocks. Now, if this Paschimottanasana is hard for you, you can bend the knees slightly, arms raised onto the ground and roll from the hip to reach into that. Now, just observe. You don't want someone to tell you how damaged you are and you need this and that, and you don't need to know that the approval of that. Because a lot of people will, out of toxicity, they will start shaming and judging in a way you've been disrespectful to the others and this and that. Trust yours is enough now, yourself. Every day we need to go into this space. And it's important who do we really share a lot with. And if they are not going to be trustworthy, don't talk about your healing. Reach on to the toes. That's there. Leave it that today. Now observe whether you can shoulders roll back and you can stop that curve a little bit and breathe into that space. It will panic as discomfort because things are changing for you. And very gently coming back. Now sole of the feet together, knees wide apart, and you're moving into the Kumarasana, but you're going to walk the bum back and you're creating a space and you're rolling from the hip. You're creating the space on the rib cage just to bring the forehead down. If the forehead is not coming down, put a bolster in the middle, and I just want you to find a comfortable space so that you're not going back into the old space. You're also, the body is showing a gentleness in its flexibility. It's showing the opportunity right in this very moment to create that relationship with the breath, with the body. And you're building these building blocks, having a gentle relationship. And you're going into the point by a gentle movement. Great. Now, picture begins on the back of the neck where C1 C2. So observe and allow the capacity to trust in that space. Or you're releasing things that my mother should have done this, father should have done this. Nothing like that. you're in the space where you're going to otherwise always be stuck. Take a couple of breaths, and I want you to breathe out and release it out of compassion. Decisions you have made, you have decided, whatever it is, it's okay. Now very gently coming back, coming back. Elongate the spine again, elevate the space of the heart. Now the sign of the ego is it always try to either keep you very small or keep you bloatedly big. It's out of a protection, a massive armor of shields. Now, very gently twist the spine to the right side, stomach folding. Back into the center. Twisting the spine to the opposite direction. Back into the center. I just want you to create space. Now, you are in that space. And I just want you to break free from the old patterns. But I just want you to monitor authentic version of yourself. If the old thoughts are coming, it's not to fight with them. Fighting with them is keeping them. If you're embracing the discomfort of the body, discomfort of the thoughts and the emotion, you're embracing this, then you're moving forward. Just observe as certain things comes, as I have done this, I have done that. The panic will create in the breath, so subside, and what will remain is stronger and wiser and more resilient. Just observe. Now, if your palms are taking a mudra, then allow them to sit on the right on the top and connecting the thumbs. Just observe. I just want you, without getting pulled back into the familiar. Let your present moment become more. This can very gently come and pull you back as a protective mechanism, but no longer serves your purpose. Ask yourself, am I looking at my new things in life in the same way? Observe the breath. Observe how you're holding this body in a graceful manner. Now the old self comes, also not an obstacle. The identity of fear is always thinking that certain things are obstacles. But this is the time you're breaking free from the old pattern. So very gently now you can see that who you get influenced most is the outside world. It's actually by your own identity. Attempt to control you, but you will use that it is the other doing it. Other doing. Now palms onto the Namaskar position on this transformation. learning to differentiate between that space of the voice of fear and the voice of the truth. The ego voice will always try to pull you back into the familiar. But allow this witnessing to be persistence, perseverance, not as a force of meditation. It is a protective mechanism. Like a visitor comes to your gate, your dog's barks, isn't it? If you have dogs, and they are quite a barky ones. It's the same thing, ego barks at everything. So this time is when it barks. Don't worry about someone strange has come. When you take that strange has come, it as the panic every time someone comes in the door, you are panicking, you're doubting, you're fearful. Same is the opportunities in life comes and knock, you go into the battle. Same thing when the healing comes, your ego barks at it. But it says you want to heal. It says you want to find enlightenment. It's not about barking. It's about opening into the unknown. And it's not about making it success, going through that procedure, and to the ego, if it fails, but you have learned something about yourself in a deeper level. Namaste into this realization because there's nothing to do after this part. You can very gently bring a resolve because your field is on a higher frequency. So whatever you throw into that, there was no fear. So you can bring a resolve, you can bring a sakalpa, whether it's a depth of healing, whether it's a foundation of living, whether it's sharing, whatever it is. Now it's not back. Even if back, it is a distance. Okay then. Namaste. So now you see, Rebecca, very good to see you. Now we can't do in the space of the postures a lot. So we are very gentle. But your healing is not about you running a marathon uh, or a relay. It can be a gentle walking. It can be a gentle movement. So even in the space that you have moved into, I know Rebecca and Daz has moved into a beautiful area of trees and natures and stuff like that. And you have to always monitor your system, whether it is the mechanism run in the same place. And we are panicked when we are challenged. It is a great opportunity to observe not so much about healing, that this is the ego being threatened, personality is being threatened. So we constantly come into that place, and very gently we are working with our inner part of that child. The ones that I was speaking to you very gently, a lot of the Western world is treating this level of, I even don't like to call it mental part, let's say emotional part, in the same way, but it's not. Every one of us has experienced things very differently. We are very different, but the level of consciousness in a field of awakening, it has no stories, it's a purity. But going to that is not about moving through your story. It is about when the story comes up for you, how you have the practice to release it from the body. Because if you don't release it, the body, you're putting these layers to overprotect it. But if you really see the mechanism of it, it can't breathe. When it can't breathe, it's going to interrupt. So don't take it anything personal. It goes to the mental part or it goes to the body part because we are energy fields. We cannot hold anything out of protection. If you really need protection, you have to open yourself. But ego doesn't want to do that because ego has protected you and brought you so far. So most of the time when your reactions happen, you have to understand, I have come so far, but now I can eliminate certain things also. So it gives time for the growth that has physically happened, mentally happened, spiritually happened. So it's not about all the time working, but also taking that gentle time to monitor. And it is very important that you have a practice like this very gently remind yourself. The more it reminds, and more you remind, your unresolved things has found its way to release and turn it into other energies. So it's not a panic anymore, it's not a fear anymore, but it is a place of flow at the moment. And out of this space, you can do a lot of things, whether it's you're moving into your creativity, whether it's you're moving into your singing, whether it's you're moving into your cooking. I do a lot of repetitive things. I exact time water my gardens, clean the house with Daza, and feed the birds exact time, and also take some couple of questions and answers for people. My phone, the people who are taking therapies from me, it's constantly I get messages, but I don't answer it because it does disturb the frequency of where I'm gently working through and resting. So, but in the morning I take a couple of things and then I'm very free to answer it if it needed answers. But if sometimes the person has released it and it needs that space for it to find its own place of pause to heal. So saying this, it's a beautiful day. It's a lovely day. And this is um, just for you to whatever you're doing, just embrace these little things. And they're nuggets of gold. They're beautiful energies that allows us to transform and becomes the larger versions of us, of not in having big properties and big lands and big cars, and it's not, but just having that space of large means there's no restrictions and boundaries for your growth. And in that level, you can enjoy the world instead of the world is enjoying you at the moment. Well, the whole economy and whole healing and whole yoga and the spiritual work is the world is enjoying you instead of you using all these things as a tool to enjoy yourself. So, my love to you all, Nicolina and Dione and Sylvia and Liz and Rebecca and Daz and Maria and Sage. Big hearts sending your way. See, we learned something today. Love you. Bye.